Your video.
Okay. Good evening, security guards, and welcome to your new program, Receiving Visitors, Operating and Managing Digital Visitors Log using the Visit Me software. And we'll be going through four major modules today. Module one, we speak to receiving of visitors. Um, Module two, three, and four will teach you more about report writing, teaching how to use the Visit Me software. So, my name is Shanali Clark Brown, and I'm your instructor for today. And we are going on a roller coaster ride this evening. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. All right. So first, I have a little icebreaker for us this evening, right? Can you see my screen? Just want to make sure. Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes, yes, seeing the screen.
All right. Well, I have some pictures here on the screen, and these pictures are depicting the names of the different dancehall artists we have here in Jamaica. I know I don't listen to dancehall music, but their names are so intriguing. So I'm going to ask you if you can make out any of these. So you can open your mics and remember we're to listen to each other. And so you can open up your mics one at a time and you can let me acknowledge you and then you can go ahead. All right. Or you want me to call on somebody?
I can try some.
And try it's like you want to do everything, Mr. Chambers. All right, go ahead, Mr. Chambers.
All right, number one look like Yellow Man.
Okay, very good.
Number two look Lady Saw-ish.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Chambers are number two, right? What number two is?
That is Lady Saw.
Lady Saw. Mm-hmm.
Number three, not sure about number three.
Not sure what number three. Go ahead. You can skip that one. Go to number four.
All right, number four, still not sure about number four.
All right, can skip that one. Number five.
Number five is Popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
And number six look like Elephant Man.
Number look at Elephant Man.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good. So anybody can help Mr. Chambers. There were number three and number four.
Number four look like Beanie Man. Man, no, may I try?
Oh, very good. Very good, Teresa. Okay,
Yo,
come Wendy.
here.
Yeah?
I can't
That's
figure out the
very
plate.
you can't figure out the plate.
Hold
Come on,
on,
Wendy.
hold on.
You must can help them with this one.
Number three is what?
Figure out number three. I'm just not getting it at all.
They're getting it
I'm
at
trying
all.
to. No, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Let me tell you what I see. I'm looking at nutmeg. I'm looking at that look like cinnamon sticks. I am looking at Miss Still not get the hint yet.
It's now spice.
Did I hear it?
Spice.
Spice, very good.
You know somebody are gonna say that though, but me I say they must suck me on no beer nuts.
Yes, Spice, very good. And I'm very sure that I got your engagement and interaction this evening.
Oh, my bad.
So,
Yeah, that stuff's apart from nuts. My bad.
so we're gonna jump on to module one. So module one, we speak to the steps to approaching a visitor and the ID verification process. Now, the module description is that this will deal with the skills and knowledge required to receive visitors to an organization. And this organization is mostly a high school while keeping set rules and procedures. It also will look at the process of ID verification by the security guards. Go ahead. All right. So these are the learning objectives that we'll be going through this evening. Identify the steps involved in approach by a visitor. Read visitors in accordance with best practices. Adopt best practices of the ID verification process. Now, let's jump into it. What are the steps involved when approached by a visitor? But first, let me ask this question. Who is a visitor? You can just, the first thing that comes to your mind, just tell me, who is a visitor to you? Have you ever received a visitor at your house before? Or at your workplace?
A visitor to me can
Mm-hmm.
be invited or an uninvited guest.
Yes. Okay. All right. That's very good, Mr. Chambers. Mrs. Francis, the first thing that comes to your mind.
Well, I would say anyone who is not directly a part of my organization.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, very good. Teresa, would you like to add?
Yeah, and I think they fall in different categories, because you can have visitors who are categorized as like contractors who come to your
Mm-hmm.
to do work on your building or things like that. And then you might just have a visitor, like a single person who just comes to see someone then or have a meeting with someone.
Okay, all right. Very good, Teresa. Thank you so much for your cooperations and your answers. Now, I have two main definitions here. So the first one is basically a general and definition of a visitor. Say someone who is visiting a person or place temporarily. And you realize that is highlighted temporarily. So the person doesn't come to stay, you know, this person is only is actually a guest visiting. And in a school setting where most of you work, is this person not a regular staff member or a student or of the administration. This person is actually like the parents, the siblings, contractors, and the health official, just as though Teresa mentioned a while ago. Right. So those are the person would be visitor in a school setting. Right. Let's move on. Screen seems to be frozen. Okay. All right. So here we have some steps right here. That will help us to approach a visitor in the appropriate manner. Right. So the first one is projecting professionalism. And professionalism would speak to your whole demeanor, your code of conduct, your attitude, and your behavior, right? And this also speak to the acting according to the standard of the company that you work with. And you know the standard and the rules and procedures of your company as a security guard, right? So it's important that you act according to the standards of your company. Number two, greet all visitors loud and clear. Are you hearing me? Am I loud and clear enough? Loud and clear. All right, good. So it doesn't mean that you should be shouting at your visitors, but actually speaking to them audibly and clear so that they're able to hear in a respectful manner. You're not supposed to be speaking under your call it under your voice like good morning, good afternoon. No, you're gonna speak boldly, good morning, madam, or good afternoon, sir. How may I assist you today? Right? So it should be loud and clear. Right. Number three, it's important too that we ask our visitor the purpose of their visit, because visitors at times they end up at the wrong place. Do you believe that? Sometimes they end up at the wrong place. And sometimes they're not sure who they are here to see when they come to visit, right? So you can ask them who they have appointment with, who would they like to see. Are you hearing me? Let me screen this up here.
Yeah, man, we're hearing you.
All right. Number four, ask for the visitor's name, right? And know the spelling and pronunciation. And listen to me, this is very important. And as security guards, this can help you, help to prevent from altercations and so forth with customers and visitors, because I would not like to hear using my call on the ID that they show to you and you call the visitor Michelle. Or using Michelle and call the person Michael. You know that would be a problem, right? Hello?
Yeah. Some people are very particular about how their names are
Trust
pronounced.
me,
Take offense.
right. And
Yes.
they easily take offense to it. So you
Right.
can just ask them, can you pronounce your name for me, please? Because at times during the whole conversation, you might have to refer to them by their name. All right. So number 5, you request the ID. So when you request the ID, you're going to enter the information in the Visit Me software, which will be discussed further in another module, right? So the ID will basically be scanned into the software itself, right? And number 6, please inform the visitor of the next step, especially if the visitor is waiting on a particular person. Don't have the visitor waiting and you don't give updates and you don't check on to see. Don't have the person there waiting until eternity or wait till midday. Say, what time do you remember say out there with? No. You understand? So it's a part of your duty too to give updates and so forth and to check on whoever the person or whatever the person is waiting on. And last but not least, keep your cool, keep calm. As security guards, we know sometimes we have multiple phones ringing simultaneously. Questions are being asked that you can't even answer at times. You're so much in such a stressful situation. So it's important. Practice skills that will help you to keep calm, and to be professional at the same time. May I say here? All right. All right. So those are our 7 steps. And please take keynote to these steps because you are going to need them. Right? Okay. Screen is frozen. Okay, go ahead. So we are going to greet a visitor. So this is our first activity, right? And we have 2 basic visitor. We have an angry visitor and we have an impatient visitor. So you're going to do a role play. So I'm going to call on 2 persons. So one going to be the angry visitor and one going to be the impatient visitor. And the third person is going to be the security guard. So Mr. Chambers, can I ask you to be the security guard this evening, sir?
I can try.
You can try. All right. So your duty is to ensure that you follow these steps, right? And ensure that you give the best customer service as you can as a security guard. So Wendy, do you think it's best for you to play the angry visitor or the impatient visitor? You're laughing.
Well,
Listen,
in my head, I'm trying to see if I can. All right, if I can, make a distinction between the two when my character comes out. Okay, I'll try.
I would love to see that character this evening. And sorry, so you go the angry visitor, right?
All right, the angry one.
Okay, and Thuris will go with the impatient. All right. So after this, then we can evaluate and see how Mr. Chambers handle the situation, if he handle it according to best practice. So the 7 steps we just outlined. All right. So, Mr. Chambers, you are security this evening, and Wendy is the angry visitor. So, Wendy, you are not going to communicate with Mr. Chambers, the security. You're just coming in, just like this lady here on our screen. You're going to come in on to Mr. Chambers, and Mr. Chambers is going to acknowledge you. All right. So, Mr. Chambers, you're going to start off by acknowledging Wendy as your angry visitor. So you can say, good evening, madam. Who may I assist you today? So, Mr. Chambers, you can go ahead.
Okay, good morning, miss. How can I be of assistance?
Good morning. And not even morning now. Good afternoon. I am here to see my daughter. She said she's not feeling well and she have bladder issues and the teacher was not letting her out of the class. She said that she wanted to go to the bathroom and the teacher did not allow her to go. So I come now and I want to speak with the teacher. We're not in a long argument with nobody.
Okay, Miss, can you please calm down? The policy of the school is that we do not allow persons on the plant
I
while
wonder if you know somebody have bladder problem. You gotta tell me to calm down. I wonder if you know. So last week, I bring her to doctor for her bladder.
there is
I
a
drink
nurse,
some
ma'am,
water here.
please. There's a nurse on the school compound, which I'm sure she will be able to see once she is in need. So can you please provide me some identification, please?
Okay, sir. See my ID here. Look, you don't know my face by now, but see my ID here still.
And what is the name of your daughter, ma'am?
Jessica Francis.
Okay, can you give me just a couple minutes to make a call to the office to see what exactly is happening with your daughter, ma'am? So please just give me a minute.
Okay. Just waste people time every time they come up here, so.
All right, Miss. Your ID says Miss Wendy Bonner Francis, and you have been given permission to enter to see your daughter. She is by the nurse's station, so you can enter, please.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I know some never mean to get in trouble, but I'm very passionate about my daughter and her bladder situation. Thanks, yeah.
Understand.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Very good. I did enjoy that one, Wendy. So I'm going to ask one of your classmates, Teresa, to evaluate and tell me if Mr. Chambers actually perform according to best practice. Teresa, so I'm going to go back. Pardon me?
We just start to work Monday.
That's where boy, you know a lot. So Teresa, I'm gonna go back to this and you're gonna just use this as a gauge and tell me how you think Mr. Chambers went.
I think he did well, he projected professionalism. He kept his cool for sure. He did greet the customer, loud and clear. He did keep informing her of what was going on in the while he was processing her. Asked her for her ID and the purpose of her visit.
And he
Right.
kept his cool.
her
And
ID.
right.
Cool.
Right, very good. But one thing though that I thought was missing, did he ask to pronounce her name? What if the name was really of a stranger name and did he ask her the name if it's Wendy or Wendy?
Well, he didn't ask, I suppose maybe.
Somebody in English, man.
She know he know her face already, so maybe she know her name or him know her name already.
No, man, he called out my name,
You call it, no, I'm talking about the pronunciation.
Wendy Bonner Francis.
Okay. All right.
Or
Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. So I have another one here, the inpatient visitor. So Teresa and Mr. Chambers, you again. You have been doing a good job once you start Monday. Really good job.
All right, let me see if we can find some impatient somewhere there, because I'm.
Jeez.
Yeah, you can't, but I feel wait. You're the panel hurry and all those stuff.
All right. Here goes nothing. Sticky. Look here, me or you can call Miss Michelle Smith, please. And she tell me for coming out with the may I move fast or deal with the thing quick. Me late to go to work.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
Look here, me not have no time to waste. I'm doing all right. Look, you can just call Michelle Smith, please. Let her know that Miss Smith is here. And she tell me for coming out. She tell me 9 o'clock, no 9:01. I'm late for work.
Well, I don't know any Michelle, but if you could give her a proper name, then I could make the proper correspondence.
Oh, Jesus, me not even know the
You have
lady name.
form of
She teach a grade
identification
4.
on you?
She teach a grade 4. You can't just let me in there. Let me just go down there go look for her myself. I don't know.
Do you have
Me
any
need
form of
work, you know.
identification on you, ma'am?
Look here, me might have to go turn back in because me left everything in my car. I'm here hurry. I'm late for work.
Well, you would need an ID before you are granted access, so you would need to go get your ID.
And what the lady name we teach down a grade 4? What is her last name? So when me come back, me know her last name.
I don't worry about the school, ma'am.
You don't know the teacher name we teach a grade 4.
No, I don't.
Anyway, as me say, I'm hurrying, so I'm going to leave. When I come back later on, me deal with you. Me gone at my work. Me late for work.
Miss, me just start door, no come stress me.
Mr. Chambers, you done lost your job. Well, so after the angry visitor, you couldn't manage the impatient one. So, so Wendy, evaluate for me, please. An evaluator now.
Ah, ah, he started off very well.
Mm-hmm.
Started off very well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he ended fairly well.
You think
But
so?
you know,
Did
it's
he
at the
did he
year.
did
But
did he
hold
keep
on,
his
hold
cool?
on. Right, that's what I was going to say. She said fairly well. Fairly well. It could have ended worse.
The lady get by my nerves, brother.
I could see in the end he was losing his school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So question, what recommendation would you give to Mr. Chambers, pertaining to this situation?
Um, right in the end there where he feels that he's about to lose his school, because I think we can tell when we're on the verge of losing our cool, probably he can just pause for a moment and take some deep breaths.
Right.
You know, yes. And in that case where she was saying, I'm going to work and we deal with it later, he did not have to respond to that at
Yeah.
all.
Right.
I know under the circumstances, it's very difficult, but we have to do it as professionals.
Right. Okay, right. That is very good. And thank you all for your cooperation, right? All right. So now we are going to be conducting the ID verification process. And I'm not going to do most of the talking now, but you're going to do most of the talking. All right. So, question, what is the ID verification? Just the first thing that would come up at the top of your head. ID verification. What is it all about? Or what do you think the process is? Mr. Chambers, since you were the security, tell me how were you processing the ID a while ago?
Well, what I would do, I would take the ID from the person. I would look at the picture that is on the ID and on the person. And once it is a match, then I would automatically assume it's a legit ID and then probably grant them access.
Okay. All right. So what if I want to win?
Well, then get to it.
All right. You said I'm almost running out of time. Okay. All right. So the ID verification is an authentication process that compares the identity a person claims to possess with data that proves it. So, example, look at this ID down the bottom. It's the ID down the bottom here. So it's important that you look on the picture, on the photo, on the ID, and look on the individual who present the ID, and you ask of this information to confirm this information is true. And as what Mr. Chambers just outlined, right? So the customer would present their physical ID and give me some examples of the ID that you accept at your institution. Anybody?
They use the driver's license
Mm-hmm.
and use the passport,
Mm-hmm.
the national ID, Those are the three major ones that would have been used.
Those are the three major ID that you use. Okay. All right, good. So on the as you said, the comparison is made with the visitor and the photo of the ID. You validate the information on the ID and scan ID in the database. All right. We are moving down slowly. All right. Not slowly, very fast, because we're basically almost there. All right. So we're gonna speak to the importance of ID verification, because at times we believe that okay then ID verification is just an extra work, a part of security. You know who they go in at the place already. There's no need for me to go look on ID as what was it the angry lady or the impatient lady was saying that you know my face already. So basically she was saying they're supposed to have your ID in your head. You understand? Because I always come here, you know, to go look for my child and so forth. So you should basically have some image in your head. But let's see, why is that is important for the process of ID verification pertaining to these terms. Okay, so we are now going to speak on the importance of ID verification. And I'm very sure as security guards, you would have encountered these terms or also in your practice as security guards, the whole security of property and equipment, you know, the management of visitors and control of crowd, you know, safety, knowing your visitors and record keeping, you know, which you will learn more about in module 3. But just along with your experience, I just want you to expound a little bit. What do you understand pertaining to ID verification process? So the first one we have here is security. How is it that ID verification process is very important in terms of security? So I can call on somebody, or the first person can come ahead and share with us what the
I guess security in terms of you know who is accessing your property or business from a security perspective. So at least you have an
Right.
idea of accessing your business.
right, who is actually there. So if anything should happen and so forth, there's actually there's an image, the photo of the person, their information of the person who are actually there, right?
Right.
Right. And for better management of visitors, Chambers like to go ahead. Or Wendy, any one of you?
I guess the ID will help in terms of knowing exactly who is on the compound. So in case there is any emergency or such, you know exactly who is there.
Yeah. And also for crowd controlling, 'cause you don't want the place full of visitors so much that you know is able to control the crowd of visitors, right?
Yeah, true.
Right. So the app, which you will learn furthermore in the module, can tell you the number of visitors that you have on the compound. So another aspect is safety. Wendy? Wendy's not there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. So what do you think
All right.
of safety?
So the ID verification does play a role in, you know, helping to improve security. Because say, for example, a parent or guardian comes to speak with a child, you want to ensure that this person is who they say they are to the child. So you don't have any, you know, negative situation transpiring.
Right. And just speaking of safety, anybody remember the situation where this was a 9-year-old or 12, no, I think a 9-year-old girl, she was taken by someone was thought to be a family member from her school, and
Yes,
all
Daniel.
right, and all the security said that was a family member who came. They did not have any identification or anything at all to say that it was actually this person who took the child from school, right? So its safety is very important when it comes down to ID verification process. So it's important that identification is verified whenever a visitor comes to your organization. And know your visitors, anyone. All right, so know your visitors is actually in the identification process, you're able to get some information about your visitor. You get your name, you get your address in some cases, their date of birth. If it's actually a passport, you can, and the driver's license, you can get their TRN. So in case of anything you want to do, any background check or any check some information on the visitor, afterwards you have those information where you can get that of your visitor, right? And for record keeping, anyone.
I guess you can use the ID. So if you have to refer back, you would have that information there. Yeah, that this person was on the plant on this date.
And how many times they visited too, right?
Yeah.
Right. So if you realize this person is not a parent or somebody picking up a child, but this person is here often, that you can give that information. But the person don't have any contract with the school. Right? All right. Any other comment? Anybody would like to make a comment about the ID verification process? Or like to add something? Or would like to share something in your experience at work as security guards?
Question. I see certain places they probably ask for birth paper as a form of identification. Is that, what's the word now? Does that make any sense?
No, all right. The birth certificate can be used as supporting document, right? Because the birth certificate doesn't have any photo to actually to say it belongs to this person. So if they gonna present an ID and they use the birth certificate as a supporting document, then that would be okay. But the birth certificate alone doesn't really give much, although there's all the information on it, but who to tell, you don't know if it actually belongs to that person.
Okay,
The
okay.
person cannot really bring a birth certificate and say this belongs to me. You understand? You need another documentation such as an ID with the name on it with similar information, so you can connect both documents and to say that it actually belongs to that person.
Okay, all right.
Right, and that includes the whole ID verification process. All right, any other question? No, Wendy, Teresa.
No, I'm good so far.
You're good so far. Okay, then. Well, I trust that you have learned a lot because I see you demonstrating, greeting your visitors, and you have learned a lot about greeting and showing your customer great customer service. And you have um, responded and you have shared with us, the importance of the ID verification process. And I really appreciate your participation and your interaction. And thank you so much for being with us this evening. All right, so we're now going to move on to module 2. So enjoy the rest of your program.
Good afternoon and welcome to module 2 of this training session. I will be your presenter for today, Mr. Shea Chambers. I crave your attention and participation. I know at times the work of a security guard can be very stressful, but today we're just having a light moment. We're here to make you better individuals at your work. We are here to make you more effective and also to help you to be able to be more rounded, if that is the word to use, in the use of the management system. So, our objectives for today, firstly, we want to describe the process that is used in the issuing of a visitor's pass. Our second objective is to demonstrate to you how to use the VisitMe software to input information from visitors and to also identify consequences and benefits of proper visitor management. Now, firstly, we would like to look at the steps that are involved in issuing a visitor's badge or pass. Now we have 5 simple steps. The first one is greeting the visitor. Now, that would have been touched on by my previous presenter, Ms. Shanna Lee. So we'll be moving right along to collecting data about the potential visitor. Now, information is collected by asking questions. So you would go about being polite and asking the necessary questions to collect the information. Now, the third step is to input the data to the VisitMe management system. So once you have collected it from the possible visitor, then you would put that data into the VisitMe management system. Once that data is in, then you would move on to the carrying out of a COVID test, and this is simply a test of the temperature. So once the temperature is over 38 degrees Celsius, then this can lead to a person being approved or being denied entry. So these are just 5 simple steps that are used to grant entry or deny entry to a potential or possible visitor. Now, the visitor management system that is used is called the VisitMe software. This application is used by many companies to log or record all the visitors that come in on a daily basis and makes it easily stored and also easily accessible. Now, devices that are compatible with this software, you have desktop computers, laptop computers, tablets, and smartphones. So you have security guards that are seated that can collect information, and you also have mobile ones that may need to walk towards a vehicle to collect the information. So on your desktop or on your laptop, this is the screen that you would most likely see. So on this screen, you would look for the application or the shortcut that represents the Visit Me software. So you would click or double click on this icon to open the software application. So for those who are not seeing the logo or the shortcut, this is what you should be looking for. Once you are seeing this, then you should double click on it to open the management system. Once you have double clicked, then this should be the next screen or the next display you should be seeing, the Visit Me and the Visitor Management System. So this will be the first interactive screen that you will come in contact with. So this is the welcome screen. So once you are seeing the screen, then you simply need to click check in. Once you have clicked check in, then this should be the next display that you see. This is the login screen. As you can see, it already has an email address and a password. So these are pre-saved into the computer. So because the organization doesn't want you using personal emails, they have pre-saved the password and the email address. So all you need to simply do is just click login and it will take you in. Okay, so once you have clicked login, then this will be the first step in data collection. So this is where you will ask the potential visitor what is the purpose of their visit. Is it to do business? Is it a meeting? Is it an interview? So you would select whichever the visitor indicates, and you will then it will then automatically take you to the next step in the data collection process. So once you have clicked the purpose of the visit, then you would need to put in the personal information of the computer. So because the organization doesn't want you using personal emails, they have pre-saved the password and the email address. So all you need to simply do is just click login and it will take you in. Okay, so once you have clicked login, then this will be the first step in data collection. So this is where you will ask the potential visitor what is the purpose of their visit. Is it to do business? Is it a meeting? Is it an interview? So you would select whichever the visitor indicates, and you will then it will then automatically take you to the next step in the data collection process. So once you have clicked the purpose of the visit, then you would need to put in the personal information of the potential visitor or the visitor. So you would input the name, you would input their email address, whichever one they give. You would put the company they are coming from if there is one. Then you would put the location that they're visiting, the date, the time, and then you would click save. Once you click save, then that would be the end of data input, and then you would need to carry out now the COVID testing. And as we said earlier, it is simply the temperature test. So this demo is of a mobile device, whether a smartphone or a tablet. So this is just to show you how data would be input into the management system on a smartphone or a tablet. So once you have clicked submit, then the data then would then move to the visitors log. So this is where you would have all information about all the visitors on a particular day. So it will show the locations because the company has different locations. It will show the time they check in, the time they leave, their checkout time. It will also indicate their COVID status, and it will also indicate who they are to be meeting with. Now, as you can see here, we have a person that was denied entry due to their COVID status. Now, as you can see, we have captured their information. This is necessary because what if this person was coming for an interview? You wouldn't want to do the COVID test first and then turn them away. So you collect the information and then you refuse them entry so that the information or the data can be recorded. So when that person returns, they can say they did in fact turn up for the interview, but they were denied entry because of their COVID status, and that person will have a chance to come again to participate in that interview. Information that can be found in a visitor's log, those are an essential part of the function of a company. So this information, it can provide you with the number of visitors that are on the compound at any given point. It can give you information as to where they can be found in case of an emergency, and it also has their contact information in case you need to reach them as quickly as possible. All right, so here we have a scenario put forward to you. So it says there was a planned fire drill at one of the company's offices on Tuesday, August 9th. Once all persons were thought to be evacuated, Mr. Ken Burnett said that he had a meeting with Emma Rockwell not too long ago and she may be still in the building. So it says, using the visitor's log, how would you reply to Mr. Burnett? So you, as one of the security persons who would be in direct contact with Miss Rockwell, you are now being tasked to determine if Miss Rockwell is in the building or if she has left the building. So how would you reply to Mr. Burnett? Well, as a security guard, on spot and using a visitor's log, as you can see, we would look under Tuesday, August 9th. We would look for Miss Rockwell's name. Then we would see, yes, indeed, she did have a meeting with Mr. Burnett. And we can see that she did enter the plant some minutes after 8, but there is no checkout time. So that means she is possibly still inside. So therefore, we would need to send our resident firefighter or our resident medics to go inside the building and to check if Miss Rockwell is still inside. So this is where the use of a visitor's log can be beneficial. It may save a person's life because in a real fire situation, persons are panicking, persons are all over the place. So this visitor's log can quickly be accessed and you can determine after the head count if all persons are accounted for or if persons are still missing. And we have come to the end of our presentation. I want to thank you for your attention. Thank you for your participation. I hope that you garnered something from this training session that will help you to be more efficient and more careful as you grant access to the company's premises and also interact with visitors on a day-to-day basis. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Wendy Bonner Francis, and I will be your presenter for Module 3, where we will be looking at report writing techniques. So I know that you have been engaged so far by my two other colleagues who have presented in such an able way on modules 1 and 2. So I hope you're still fired up and you're just eager to learn more. And I hope you are excited as I am. So let's get right into it. So these are our objectives. So at the end of this module, trainees will be able to outline the purpose of report writing, demonstrate a strong command of the English language, organize information or data to generate a report, and ultimately to assemble a report using appropriate language. All right. And this is basically our training outline. So we are going to start off by looking at the importance of report writing, right? We're also going to be looking at the importance of having a strong command of the English language, especially the written format, right? We're also going to be looking at pointers for organizing the information in your report and the do's and don'ts of your content. All right. Sounds like a lot of fun? Yes, no?
Yes, miss.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So before we get into the meat of the content, I have two questions that I would like to throw out to you guys, just to get you thinking and to get the ball rolling. So the first question is, what do you think is the importance of writing reports? It just sounds daunting, right? But it is important. Okay. Where are we running away to? All right. Number 2, what are some of the reasons that would require security guards to write a report? All right. So go ahead. Let me know your thoughts.
So one of the one of the reasons I think is important for reports to be written is so that you have something in black and white, then documented evidence of an incident or whatever the report was being written about. And the reason one of the reasons I know security guards write reports is if there's an incident or an accident at stage while they were active, they need to give an account from a report of what happened based on their perspective or what they saw then, what happened in their perspective.
Okay, thank you so much, Teresa, for that response. So I noticed that you mentioned about when an incident takes place, right? So you will soon realize that the main focus of this report writing will be on the incident report in particular. Not that security guards don't write other types of reports, but the incident report is the main one that is focused on, and this is the one that security guards must learn how to master. All right. So, Shanali, do you have anything to add? Or would you like to add anything?
To me, the importance of it is basically for record keeping.
Very good. And record keeping is very important, right? Because you may never know when something negative will happen, right? Maybe something that will end in a legal battle. And it is good that some of these records can come back to using evidence. So very good, very good. I like it. All right, so let us move on. All right. So, like what we just mentioned earlier, well, you lovely ladies told me all of the answers, right? So the job of a security guard often entails the ability to report incidents that takes place while they are on the job. So reporting observations and incidents play a crucial role in maintaining the safety of a physical location. All right, because safety is very important. So these security reports, they log things like routines, just a daily routine, what happened during your shift. Did anything unusual happen, right? Support order, it details specific events such as incidents, and you notice that's in blue because that will be the focus of our report writing today, all right? And of course, it can be used to communicate areas for improvement. So as a security guard, right, you want to be a professional. You want to be good at your craft. So you don't have to wait until an incident, you know, happen for you to report something. If you see where there's a potential hazard, right, or you see a potential danger, or you see where a particular procedure could be more efficient, you can make a note of it, put it in a nice little report and send it to your manager. You know, you might just impress them. All right, so now that we have established what the importance of writing reports are or is, we now need to talk about the skills that we need to write a good report. Okay? So, I will be asking you guys to watch a video. At the end of the video, you are going to make a general comment. You're also going to, you know, mention at least one of the skills that are needed to write a report, one of the skills that, you know, jumped out at you that you want to comment on. Are we understanding? Are we here?
Yes, we're
Yes,
here.
miss. Yes, miss.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share that video. Let me know if you're seeing my new screen. Hello? Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Just click play, please.
Writing is one of Let's try that again. Report writing is one of the most fun and exciting parts of being a security guard. Wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Let's try that again. Report writing is one of the most hated and boring parts of being a security guard. Hi, I'm Dave Corbin, founder of From Guard to Pro, your resource for information, insights, and training to help you move from a security guard to a security professional. Regardless of whether you enjoy it, report writing reflects directly upon you as a security guard. You can be great at patrol, at customer service, and even emergency response. But if your reports are crap, they will come back to haunt you. This is especially problematic when it's time for a promotion or new opportunities. Think about it. If your reports as a security guard are no good, then people are going to think that your ability to write communications as a leader will be the same. They may even make judgments unfairly about your intelligence. I cannot tell you how many security leaders have told me that the biggest issue they have with their staff is that they can't write reports. Why not stand out as the excellent report writer in your department? This, as they say, is what's in it for you, opportunity. Also, a well-written report can help your organization begin an investigation, defend itself against civil litigation, or prosecute criminal offenders. It can also help to identify safety issues or operational issues that may come up again in the future. That's why it's important to write every report well, so you can always feel confident that your report will reflect well upon you, your department, and your organization. Every incident is different, but regardless of the type of incident, there are count them, six key elements that need to be present for any report to be effective. Your report needs to be clear, concise, complete, factual, accurate, and timely. That's clear, concise, complete, factual, accurate, and timely. Now, I tried to come up with an acronym for this, but all I could come up with was triple C FAT. How does that work? Does that help you remember it? Triple C FAT. I didn't think it would help, but I just throw it out there anyways. Let's start with clear. If someone who was not involved in the incident picks up your report, they should be able to understand it without you explaining it to them. Also, organize your report in logical order and steer clear of any jargon or acronyms or overly fancy words. Next, you want it to be concise. Get all the right information into your report, but avoid making it overly wordy. Get to the point without leaving any information out. As a great man named Vanilla Ice once said, quick to the point, no faking. But never, honestly, never compromise the quality of your report just to make it shorter, though. It's important that you get all the right info in there. Complete. A report is complete when it contains all the relevant information, facts, and details. The person reading it should not be left with questions after they're reading it about what happened, who was involved, and what their name is and how do you spell it, all those things. That should all be in your report. The reader should not be left with any questions. Factual. Keep your report objective. Ensure it is based on your observations, what you learned from witnesses, or otherwise observed at the scene. I cannot stress this enough. Opinions have no place in your report. You know what they say about opinions, and I'll give you a hint. It's not nice. Accurate. Remember to take good notes so that your report states the correct information, times, spellings of names, and other information. If you don't have the information, find it. Be timely. The longer you wait to file a report, the more likely it is that you're going to forget things that were not captured by your notes. Also, a late report means that an investigation cannot begin, and the people that need to be notified about the incident cannot be notified in a timely way. There you have it. The 6 key elements for a report to be effective. Remember, triple C FAT, right? Just as easy as that. The report needs to be clear, concise, complete, factual, accurate, and timely. Are your reports effective? Next time you write a report, check it to make sure these 6 elements, triple C FAT, are in your report.
Okay. All right.
So let's be honest. How many of us, have that feeling about writing reports, that daunting feeling, like how the individuals felt at the start of the video, right? I'll be the first person to raise my hand. All right. But we know that it is important, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So I want you to, just make a general comment about the video. Maybe it's a factor that you already knew about, right? Or it's a factor that you didn't know about. But just let me hear your comments on the video. All right. Who's going to go first?
Well, from the video,
Yes.
we can see that no one in our field as security guards, we enjoy writing reports because sometimes it's boring.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't see the importance of it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of it, it can probably save our jobs, or it can save somebody from some legal litigation or stuff like that.
Yes.
So that's just what I've gathered from that video.
Right.
It's not something that we want to do, but it is a necessity as a part of our job.
That is true. Right. So you just reiterated the importance of writing reports. Very good. But when you are putting your report together, tell me as something that you must do. One thing that you must do in order to ensure that your report is done properly.
Well, it should be factual and concise.
Right. Exactly. Very good. Awesome. All right. Ladies, do you want to comment as well?
The report should be accurate. It should not be padded with things that you assumed. But
right. So your opinions, keep those to yourself for now. There's a place where you can express your opinion. It's in the section for the recommendations, but the details of the incident itself, stick to the facts. All right. Thank you so much for your participation. So let us continue. All right. So to be able to write good reports, security guards must have strong written communication skills where proper grammar and spelling are exercised, right? This is a given. So security reports are often read by the manager in charge, but there are circumstances where the report may be read by other persons, such as police officers and legal attorneys. So because you don't know where your report might end up, you want to make sure that you always cross your T's and you dot your I's, because you just never know. All right. So to be on the safe side, always do your reports properly. All right. So be meticulous, right? Try to avoid errors. And, we are humans and we do make mistakes. So proofread your report or ask someone else to proofread it for you as soon as you're finished writing it. All right. So we are going to be looking at how you're supposed to organize your report. Right. So number one, state only the facts. So incident reports should be factual. So report events or situations exactly how they occurred without adding your thoughts, feelings, or opinions. So this is not, English class. I mean, you should still keep the English when you're writing the report, but this is not a persuasive argument essay. It's a report. So you stick to the facts. All right. And the second pointer is you use simple language. So the incident report should be written in such a way that it will be understood by anyone, regardless of their experience, education, or background. So you're not going to be using a lot of jargons in your reports because you're not writing to impress anyone, right? It's not a PhD paper that you're writing. You just need to just state the facts, simple, concise. Right. All right. Are we following? Any questions?
I'm following, but no questions.
Okay. All right. And number 3. So use paragraphs to make it easier to read. So do not write your report as a single long paragraph, right? Because of course, this will make it harder to understand. All right. And nobody likes to, read something that's very lengthy. And your managers are very busy people. So if you can make your report as concise as possible, but still complete, then that will be more efficient on your part, and your boss, will be happy for that, or making his or her life easier. So what you can do, instead of putting all of the information in one paragraph, you can break up the information in several paragraph pointers. Just like when you're writing a resume, you break up, the information into several parts. However, the good thing about it is most security companies use forms, right? So more likely than not, you won't be required to write your reports from scratch in terms of organizing the structure. All right. But still, in the section where you have to write the incident report, you should follow these 3 pointers. All right. So let us reflect on the 3 pointers for organizing the report. So number 1, what did we say the first pointer was?
Be factual.
Be factual, stick to the facts. And number 2? What did we say about number 2? Use simple language, right? So do not use any jargons. Use simple language. Anybody who picks up the report, any relevant person, they can quickly understand what your report is about. And number 3, use paragraphs to make it easier to read. And later on, we're going to be doing a little activity on organizing the report. Okay? All right. So let's touch on the content of a little bit as well. So your report should include who, what, when, where, why, right? The 5 W's or W's. So who were the persons involved? What were they doing? When did the incident take place? Where? Why? Right? All of this information should be a part of your report. All right? If one is missing, it is incomplete. All right? So include all the people that were present at the scene in your report also, and just state exactly what happened. All right? Be as detailed as you possibly can without throwing your opinion in the mix. All right? Also, your report should always be written in past tense. How many persons knew this? So the tense is very important. So that's a yes. Silence means consent. You already knew that the report is supposed to be written in past tense.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. I'm not hearing from the ladies, you know. Not hearing from the ladies at all. Ladies,
I
what
agree.
happened?
I agree.
All right. And of course, this is a given. Your report should be free of grammatical and spelling errors. All right. So far, we have looked at how you're supposed to organize the report, and we looked at the content of your report. So now we're going to break, and you're going to do a little mini quiz. All right, just to see how much you understand about, you know, how you should organize your report and the do's and don'ts of the content. All right, so I am going to post the link in the chat, and you just click on it. So your name is not required, your email address is not required. So you just do it, all right? I will just be looking at the results, that's all. And you'll get back your results at the same time, immediately as well. All right. Okay, so please let me know if you're seeing that link. Are you seeing that link in the chat?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So just go ahead and start. So it's 10 questions, 4 multiple choice questions, and 6 true and false questions. It's easy peasy. All right. Just to test yourself to see how much you have learned so far. Okay. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, miss.
All right. So I am seeing where everyone got 100%. And that is so commendable, right? It shows that we are. Congratulations to you all. All right, excellent. So now let us move on. All right. I'm not sure what is happening with this slide. It doesn't want to move on. Okay. All right. So we are going to do another exercise. So the quiz that we just did, it shows that we understand how to organize our report, and it shows that we understand the do's and don'ts of the content. So we're moving on to our next activity, and we're coming down nicely. We're almost there. And I hope you have been having as much fun as I have been having. All right. So we have a little scenario here. So I know most of you are assigned to work within the schools. So this is the reason why I've chosen this scenario. It's something that it's a scenario that is relatable, you know. So who wants to read for me? Who wants to read the scenario for me? No volunteers? Are you seeing my screen?
I can try to read it.
Okay, Mr. Chambers, go ahead.
All right, so it says schools have reopened. However, the school that you work at still maintains the COVID-19 guidelines, especially the mask wearing aspect. While on duty, a male parent shows up without a mask. You instruct the parent that he cannot enter the main office without a mask. The parent explains that he does not have a mask. However, he has a rag that he can use. You then explain that it must be a mask. The parent becomes boisterous while expressing that you are being spiteful and unreasonable. He threatens to physically assault you, resulting in the police being contacted.
Right. Thank you. So, you are going to write an incident report based on the scenario that you just read. All right, it's a very relatable scenario. So, I would have collected your email addresses before the training exercise, and I would have sent you a form. But before you go ahead and do that, I have the form right here. So this is where I really want you to focus on. Are you able to see my mouse pointer?
Yes.
Right. So the box where it says incident details, that's really where I want you to focus on in terms of bringing out the elements that you were taught. Of course, you're supposed to fill out these sections as well. So it's an hypothetical scenario, so you can, you can make up the other information. All right. But for your incident detail, make it as closely related to the scenario as possible. All right. And I want you to give me at least one recommendation in the recommendation section. So a part of your job as a security guard, you're not just writing reports. Your employer wants someone who is just writing more than reports, who is just more than a security guard. They want a professional, someone who can bring solutions to the table. And that will set you apart from the others. All right. So I have sent, right, an editable version of this form to your email. All right, so you can go ahead and do that activity. All right, then I'm going to ask you to share your screen, and you guys are going to, critique each other's report to see if you have all the elements. So do we understand what we're supposed to do?
Just one question.
Yes, go ahead.
Are we doing the entire form or just the incident details?
You're doing the entire form, but if time does not allow us, at least ensure that you do the incident details and at least one recommendation and the cause as well. But if you can fill out everything, go right ahead. No problem.
Okay.
All right. Are we clear? But like we have been saying, good practice, fill out everything. Don't leave your incident report incomplete. But this is practice and we're, working in time constraints. All right. Okay, so we are going to resume in the next 5 minutes. That's too little for you. You want more time? 6 minutes, 7 minutes? All right, 7 minutes sounds good. All right. So ladies, we are good? Ladies?
Yes, so far, filling it out.
All right. All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back. We are back. So, who is going to share for us first? So let me stop sharing so that you can share. So who is going to go first?
Please enable us to share, please.
All right, just a moment. All right. So Mr. Chambers will be sharing for us. Go ahead, Mr. Chambers. All right. So class.
I'm supposed to say something. I thought they were just looking at it and critiquing it.
Well, that's true. The other trainees are going to critique it. So go
Okay.
ahead. So guys, ladies, is he missing anything? It's fine. All right, scroll down for me, Mr. Chambers, all the way to the bottom. All
Miss,
right.
did you give a
ahead.
time in the scenario? Or
7
just
minutes.
created that time?
I said 7 minutes.
Normally they give a time in the scenario when it happened, when it occurred.
Oh no. So
Oh,
I
just
had
wondering.
said that it's an hypothetical scenario, so you can add the other details.
Okay.
So remember, I had sent out a message. All right, so let me know. Is this report okay? Is it missing anything? Teresa and Shanali, tell me about Shay's report. Is it fine? Is it missing?
It did not mention that he had to go to the police though.
He ticked it, man. Well,
I'm talking about the details.
oh. Well, yes, he could have mentioned it briefly in his report. But since there's a section over here that says police was called, it depends exactly on what exactly transpired. All right, but aside from that, all right. So Shay, I like your recommendation. So I like your recommendation.
Thank you.
All right, this whole situation might not have blown up the way it did if the security guard probably had some mass selling. All right. So at 7:30 a.m., male parent became physically aggressive. Well, was it intentional that you're writing in full caps?
Yeah, I just have everything in all caps. Don't know why.
All right. Since you have the time on this over here, you don't need to mention it exactly. You don't need to mention it again in the incident details. All right.
Okay, noted.
Due to him being denied entry for not wearing a mask. So, all right.
I'm just keeping
So,
it concise.
go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm keeping it as concise as possible.
That is true. But seeing that the police was called, right? Seeing that the police was called, in your incident detail, you could quote exactly what the parents said. If he said, me I got thump in your face, security boy, you write it down and you put it in quotation so that the police has that in their report as well. But apart from that, it seems fine to me.
Okay, noted.
All right. What do you think? What do you think about that comment? You agree?
Yeah, man, it makes sense because,
Yes.
What's said to let tempers rise?
Right. All right. Thank you, Shay, for your participation.
All right, no problem.
Yes. And I can see that you're well on your way to being a security professional. All right. Shanali or Teresa, who is going to share for me? All right, Shanali is sharing. All right. So Shay, do you have any comments for Shanali?
And basically same thing. Only thing different are the name.
Yes, and
Yeah, basically it's the same.
yeah, so I would give you the same comment that I gave to she as well. So you decided to call the police on this parent because of a threat. So quote exactly what the threat was, right? I'm not sure how many of us know, but did you know that when you go into if you go into the courtroom to give a testimony, like if expletives were said, you have to quote the expletive in the courtroom? Even if you're a Christian and you don't curse bad word, you have to you have to quote the exact expletive. Yes.
That a go on?
Yes, it's yeah. So Chanel also just tick on the side that yes, you call the police. Yes, you have it in the incident
It's text, you
detail.
know.
It's
It's
tick.
text, you know, see it. But
Eh.
it's gonna go in the box. You know, see the little tick.
Oh, so probably that's why she highlighted is okay.
Yeah.
All right. So follow-up recommendation marks should be provided to every visitor. Yes, you could do that if you have the money. If you can stand the cost, the organization can stand the cost. All right, but
You
I'm
can get
sure
free
your
mask
boss.
from government.
Huh?
You can get free mask from government.
Oh, all right. Well, all right. I'm not sure how many schools are giving away free masks, but okay. But we could do that or we could sell it to them. But very good, very good. Thank you for your participation. And I can see that you're also on your way to becoming a security professional. I am so proud of you all. All right, so we are coming down nicely, we are wrapping up. We're wrapping up. We're almost, out of here. All right. So let me share once more. Okay, so just to summarize everything that we have said and everything that we have done throughout this training so far. So for effective report writing, you use the following tips, right? Use formal language. Use the correct format and structure. Keep to the facts. Make your points clear. Proofread and polish. All right? Once you bear those tips in mind, you are good to go. All right? And one last tip before we go. Make a habit of taking notes throughout the day or throughout your shift. So even if you will be doing your reports on a computer, right? Or you will be filling out a form, whatever the case is, try to have a little notebook, right? That you take little jottings, that you make little jottings in throughout the day. All right. Do not leave everything at the mercy of your memory alone. All right. And I will also leave this old Chinese proverb with you. It says, the faintest ink is more powerful than the strongest memory. All right. How many of us have heard this quote before? Probably you heard it when you were in primary school or even high school. The faintest ink is more powerful.
Now in the workplace.
Huh?
The workplace.
What was that?
I said more in the workplace.
Oh, you heard it more in the workplace.
Yes, no work recorded, no work done.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? So that concludes our training session.
No, miss, I'm good.
You're good. So do you think you're more confident now to write a report one that is up to standard?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for gracing me with your presence today. All right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Are you all seeing my screen? Are you all hearing me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, I can.
Okay, so good evening again. And
Are
just
you
as a
hearing me?
reminder, yes, I'm hearing you. Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please use the raise hand button, or you can ask me to stop if you're unclear about anything and you need clarification. All right.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. So this segment of the training, we'll be looking at the strategies for dealing with special customers. And if you notice there, special is in quotation. So when we talk about special today, we're going to be referring to those customers who present the most challenge when we attempt, in your case, it would be when you're either logging a visitor or doing some sort of a visitor entry. All right. So those are the customers that we would probably refer to as the difficult customers. So we're referring to them today as special. So before we dive into the training, let me see if I can get this into slideshow mode. All right. So before we dive into the training, I wanted to ask you a question, and anyone can answer. And as security guards, you guys are your customer service ambassadors, essentially. You are the face or the representation of company with which you're assigned. So I wanted to ask anyone today, if you were to have a customer service superpower, what would it be and how would you use it? And as I said, feel free, anyone can jump in here.
Okay. I'll try that.
Go ahead.
Well, my superpower would be the ability to read people's mind
Okay,
or customers' mind.
interesting.
And the reason why I say that is I want to be able to read the customer's mind, to know exactly what he or she needs and what they're about, so I can able to help them efficiently.
Excellent. And that is not so much, not just a superpower, but I guess a lot of us would love to have that. So it would relinquish a lot of the concerns and challenges that we have, wouldn't it? All
Yes,
right,
it would.
great. All right, so let's jump into the objectives for the training this afternoon. So this afternoon will be at the end of the training, the participants, for you, should be able to understand the challenges and unique needs of special customers. You should also be able to demonstrate effective communication techniques and also to adopt some of the best practices for managing stress and emotional well-being. All right, and to begin, we wanted to just briefly look at what we refer to as the special customer, some of the characteristics of the different type of challenging customers that you may have to deal with on a daily basis. We have the demanding or the impatient customer, and I know a lot of us have had these occurrences. You have a customer, they come in, they're either in a rush, they want to be dealt with right away, they don't want to wait, they want to tell you, oh, I'm running late, or someone is waiting on me, and they're telling you, this is what I want now, I need to get in now. So those are demanding, they're impatient, they don't have any chill, as what we would call it. We also have those, they're the aggressive or the ones that have the outbursts. So they'll start shouting or they'll start to get a little bit
overwhelming because of their aggressive attitude towards you. They might even start to curse you. We also have the defiant, or the ones that just refuse to comply altogether. So you might have a policy. The policy might state, we need to see an identification in order for you to come inside of the building, or there are some other requirements before you can be granted entry. And these are the customers, the defiant and the refuse to comply ones, are the ones that just decide, all right, we're not going to follow any rule. We don't want to hear anything about it. We just want entry. And then we have Mr. and Mrs. Entitled. And this one is becoming very, very popular. This is the one who knows all the managers, all the supervisors, and they're going to tell you, oh, I don't need to talk to you, or I can call the manager, I can call the principal. They know everyone. And I don't know why they're still standing outside if they know everyone, right?
Yes, yes.
All right, so this evening, what we want to do, we want to take a look at some of the techniques that we can, adopt in our everyday work life to communicate a little bit better with our customers so that we can reduce the likelihood or eliminate it altogether of, having to deal with those challenging or special customers. We want to look a little bit at empathy and understanding, active listening, and verbal de-escalation, and how this can, reduce the likelihood of situations getting out of our control and things like that. Everybody's with me so far?
Yes, yes, I am.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna look first at empathy and understanding. All right, so the quotation there, it says empathy, seeing with the eyes of another, listening with the ears of another, and feeling with the heart of another. And essentially that's basically saying you're putting yourself into the shoe of another person. So you're seeing out of their eyes, feeling what they're feeling, to understand what it is that they're really going through. So, of course, we know customer service it's not always easy, especially when we have to deal with a customer who is angry or frustrated or rude. So sometimes we feel like, or we just lose our patience. Not true. But we know that this is not the right reaction, and you can lose your job, you can damage your reputation, and there's so many other things that can happen. So instead, what we want to do, we should always try to put ourselves in the other person's shoe. Try to understand their frustration from their point of view. When you do that, you can acknowledge their feelings. You realize that sometimes they have all right to be angry, because sometimes they're going through some things. And it is probably the company itself that probably didn't explain something properly. They weren't given the right information. So they are understandably upset. So once you have a genuine understanding of their frustration, then you're now able to tailor your responses to their needs. So showing empathy, it doesn't mean that you agree with everything the customer says. You don't have to do everything that they say. And it doesn't mean that you're going to let them take advantage of you. It means that you're not going to jump to conclusions, and you're going to recognize their feelings and demonstrate a willingness to help, right? It also means that you're treating the customer with respect. You're going to use respectful language. Miss, I apologize for the misunderstanding. Sir, thank you for your patience. And you're always going to want to maintain calm and keep a friendly tone of voice. All right?
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so moving on to active listening. Has anyone ever heard someone say to them or say to somebody else, are you listening or are you hearing me? And what do you think they mean by it?
They need their full, what would you say now? Attention.
Right. So are you really, really listening to what I'm saying, or is it just passing from one ear to the other? Right? So because active listening requires focus, your full attention, like you just said, you're showing interest and responding appropriately to what the person is saying. And it says there, listening is an art that requires attention over talent, spirit over ego, and others over self. So you always want to ensure that your full focus is on the person that is communicating with you, so that you can ensure that whatever it is that they're saying, that you fully understand, And if you don't understand, you can paraphrase. You can ask for questions to clarify to ensure that you understand. You want to always maintain eye contact and you want to have an attentive body language. Active listening, by definition, it's more than just hearing. And as we said earlier, it's a process of understanding, empathizing, as we spoke about before, and validating the customer's message or their emotions. So it requires you, as we said before, to give the customer your full attention, no distractions. And in so doing, you avoid a lot of misunderstandings or you reduce the likelihood of misunderstandings, right? So as we engage in active listening, it's also important for us to ensure that we're using those nonverbal cues to show that we're listening. So you want to maintain eye contact. You know, you nod, you show the body language that's attentive and positive. So if somebody's talking to you and you're allowing them to talk, so you give them a little nod here and there to just confirm that you're listening, you're absorbing everything that they're saying, right? So that is a part of active listening, right? So we move on to verbal de-escalation, and I hope everybody is still with me.
Yes.
All right, so verbal de-escalation, and this is something that I think everyone, especially people who work in customer service, needs to master, right? It is simply a behavior that is aimed at calming down an irate customer so that we can successfully resolve whatever the issue is or whatever their complaint is. So how do we achieve this? And this is where all the strategies that we've learned so far, they're going to come all together. Give me one. So we're going to be using calming words. We're using avoiding arguments or confrontation. I'm hearing a bit of feedback. Somebody needs to mute their mic. Sorry. All right. So of course I said avoiding arguments and confrontations. You don't want to engage in an argument. Because engaging in an argument is only going to further. Let me see if I can see the participants on mute. That one. All right. You also want to find common ground and build some sort of a rapport, because sometimes they're upsetting, but sometimes they just need a listening ear. You stop and you listen for a little bit, you provide a little feedback, and they come right down. You also want to ensure that you're listening without interruptions, and that is engaging with active listening. Display empathy, as we talked about earlier. Ensure that your body language states that, you're listening attentively, you are empathizing, you, sir, I understand what you're saying, but this and so on, or, I apologize for this happening, and things like that. You want to ensure that the words that you're using show that you sincerely understand and that you're showing, you're sincerely being apologetic. You also want to ensure that at all times you maintain professionalism. You don't ever want it to be a case where you are having a situation with a customer, they're extremely upset, and then out of nowhere you start to throw curse words at the customer, or you want to the body language starts to be negative. We all know that that is just fuel to the fire. And as you can see right there, you can go from 0 to 100. A customer can go from 0 to 100 in no time. All right, and let's move along. All right, so now, so we're going to jump into an essential aspect of dealing with difficult customers, and this is emotional regulation and stress management. So as security guards, you may encounter challenging situations that can evoke some strong emotions. It's critical for you to always try to remain composed and focused during these interactions to ensure that the outcome is the best possible outcome and not something that goes completely uncontrollable. Emotional regulation involves recognizing and managing your own emotions effectively. I don't know if anyone has ever been in a situation where you're dealing with a customer that is upset. You're trying to probably you're listening, you're trying to explain, but the customer is still so upset that you get flustered, and then you start to take out your frustration on the customer. That is a recipe for even more disaster. So when we talk about emotional regulation here, we're talking about managing your own emotions effectively. You know, you're faced with an upset customer. It's normal to feel, you know, those different emotions. You feel frustrated, you feel irritated. However, reacting impulsively will only escalate the situation further. So stress management is also important. You know, high pressure scenarios, they can take a toll on our emotional well-being, especially in a situation where you have to deal with customers face to face on a daily basis right throughout the day. You know, if we're not careful, these periods of prolonged stress can negatively impact our interactions. And it can also impact our job performance, because sometimes we get to the point where we're so overwhelmed, we just either don't want to go to work anymore, or we just, them say you lax from work, you just can't bother, you drop your hands, you stop putting out all of that positive effort that you would have usually put out, right? So one of the first things that you really want to do, especially when you're in a very high stress or difficult situations, you want to take a deep breath, right? When you're faced with a challenging customer, pause for a few seconds, take a few deep breaths, center yourself. Deep breaths help to calm the nervous system, and it helps to clear your mind. Secondly, you want to practice mindfulness. And mindfulness techniques, you focus on the present moment. Try not to think too far back, too far ahead. Stay grounded and prevent your emotions from taking control of you. Because once your emotions take control, then you're not thinking rationally anymore. Avoid multitasking as well. You don't want to be doing too many things at that time, because then you're going to get even more flustered, even more frustrated, right? So don't try to take on too many situations at once, because then you will feel even more overwhelmed. Start by trying to resolve one issue at a time. And fourth there, always seek support if you feel that you need it. If you feel like you're getting too overwhelmed, do not hesitate to reach out to a colleague, a supervisor. Sometimes just talking to somebody can provide some valuable perspective and emotional relief. And you always want to prioritize self-care. Make time for activities outside of work that recharge you. You want to engage in hobbies or exercise, or spending time with loved ones that can help you maintain your emotional well-being. And never ever take it personally. You're having a negative interaction with a customer. It is never you. The customer is exactly, they're having a bad day. They're probably just having, it's just one of those days for them. It is not you. So never take it personally, and always think positively, because the minute the customer leaves, that's it. You just reset and go back into your regular programming. So always think positively. All right. So remember, emotional regulation and stress management are essential tools in your toolbox when you're dealing with difficult customers. So by staying composed and managing stress effectively, you can navigate challenging interactions with confidence and professionalism. All right. So now that we've explored effective communication techniques and stress management, we're going to focus a little bit on adopting best practices for dealing with those special customers. So these practices will help you navigate challenging situations. Firstly, you want to ensure that you're setting boundaries. It's essential to be respectful to the customer and helpful, but there may be instances where the customers just cross the line with some inappropriate behavior or language. It is okay to assertively communicate to the customer your boundaries while still maintaining a professional tone. So if the customer starts to throw all of those curse words, it is okay for you to say, Miss Smith, Mr. Smith, if you are going to continue cursing, I will have to step back from this conversation. It is okay to set those kind of boundaries. All right. Secondly, ensure that you're always seeking support when you need it. Dealing with difficult customers can be emotionally draining. That is just the reality of it, right? So don't hesitate to reach out to your colleagues, your supervisors, or whatever support systems you have in your organization. Sharing those experiences and seeking advice can make a significant difference. You also want to view challenges as a learning opportunity, you know. Not every customer interaction is going to go smoothly, and that's okay. Embrace those moments and think of them as opportunities that you can learn something from, that you can grow from. So reflect on each experience to identify the areas for personal and professional development. You also want to always embrace a mindset of continuous improvement. The world of customer service is always changing and there's always room for improvement. So stay open to feedback, you know, attend training sessions when needed or as you can, and always keep owning your skills to become even better at what you do. And lastly, and perhaps it's the most important, take care of yourself. Dealing with difficult customers can be emotionally taxing. So prioritize self-care. And as we spoke about before, you know, make time for those activities that can have you de-stress and reset and refocus, you know, and relax and enjoy your days off, you know, do some activity that you love, spend time with your family, do some exercise, burn it off. You know, remember, taking care of yourself enables you to better support others. All right, so incorporating these best practices into your interactions, it'll not only benefit your customers, but it also contributes to your overall job satisfaction. So by setting boundaries, you know, seeking support, learning from your challenges, and embracing continuous improvement, you can be a more resilient and effective security guard. All right, skip that one. All right, so as we come to the end of the training, I want you to, you know, jot down or note what were your key takeaways from the training. And if any of these techniques that we spoke about, when you think about, you know, that customer service superpower that you would have loved to have and how you would have used it, and you think about the different techniques, do you see where the techniques could have helped you to, you know, materialize or somehow work out that customer service superpower that you would have wanted to have? And then I also want you to think about how you can improve your interactions with challenging customers based on the content of the training today. All right. And if there are any questions, the floor is open, but I appreciate your participation and thank you for coming. Anybody have any questions as it relates to what we went through? Everybody clear?
My question,
Go ahead.
how do you deal with the communication barrier of a different language?
That's a good question. If it's a case where you do not have a representative that can serve as a translator, then I think you have to get innovative. You have to be really innovative. There are a lot of, you know, technologically or apps or those kind of things that you can use your devices to possibly help you to translate. I know sometimes it might, you know, get the customer a little bit frustrated, but I believe if they realize that you really do not speak the language, they will be able to compromise and understand that, you know, if you have to use a device to go ahead and do some sort of a translation to see how best you can help them, I believe they would be more than, you know, more than happy to at least try to come to some sort of a common ground then, so we can figure out how best you can assist the customer. Because if somebody comes and they're speaking a different language and they don't speak English at all and there is no translator, we really would have to get innovative as it relates to trying to assist them. But as we spoke about in the training, it has a lot to do with you know, how are you going to try to let that person know, I don't speak the language, but if you bear with me, we're going to try to figure this out and we're going to try to come to some sort of a resolution. We're going to figure it out. All right, so you want to start with those very calming, reassuring words to let them know we're going to figure this out, but just bear with us while we try to, maneuver the whole language barrier. Right? So I hope that answered your, helped
Yes.
in some way.
1 second, 1 second. If the person can't speak our language, how you gonna tell that person, bear with me? How that person gonna understand?
That's why I said there are so many different ways that we can use the devices that we have around us to help us to communicate with them. So if it's even to use a translator on our mobile phones or on the customer's mobile phones, because what I've seen them do, in my line of work is they walk with their phones out when they realize that they don't speak the language. So they will have the translator up and they're putting in specific words. So what I typically do, I will take the phone and say, no problem. I will try to assist as best as I possibly can. And, we take it from there. But there is always going to be the introduction of some sort of a device in that case.
Okay.
Okay, so does anyone want to share their takeaway from the training or their feedback?
My takeaway from the training are dealing with special customer. Active listening is key. Showing empathy and understanding. Okay? And try understand the communication and the barriers that surround it. Verbal de-escalation and apologize works. Ensure positive body language and think positive. Use best practice that works. Take care of yourself and find something that makes you happy.
All right. Again, I thank you very much for your participation. I appreciate you taking the time to be here. And we've come to the end of our training. Thank you.
All right, good night.
Good night.
All right.